Hey Collective, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day today. So have you ever felt like you're the main character, but in someone else's story? You're their hero, their emotional rock, the one they call in a crisis. They tell you they want you, they need you, but you have this sinking feeling that they don't actually know you at all. You're the first person they text with good news, and the first they call when their world is falling apart. They admire your strength, your wisdom, your seemingly endless ability to handle chaos. They're your biggest fan. But when was the last time they asked how you were doing and actually stuck around for the answer? When was the last time they saw past your strength and noticed your struggle? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone, and you're definitely not imagining it. You've been cast in a very specific and very draining role. This is for anyone who is tired of being admired from a pedestal, but feels completely invisible up close. Let's get into the psychological reasons why people turn you into their lifeline, and what you can do to finally reclaim your own story. First, let's give this dynamic a name. I like to call it the fan and the lifeline paradox. It's not a formal term from a textbook, but it perfectly captures the two sides of this exhausting experience. It's when someone in your life treats you like both a celebrity they worship and an emergency service they can't live without. On one side, you have the fan. This is the person who idealizes you. They see you as practically flawless, focusing on your best qualities while conveniently ignoring your messy human parts. To them, you're the blueprint for how to live, how to think, and how to be resilient. You're put on a pedestal and admired for your strength and stability. And let's be honest, it feels good. Who doesn't like being admired? It's validating to be seen as competent and wise. But there's a dark side to being on a pedestal. After all, a pedestal is a very small and lonely place to be. When someone idealizes you, they aren't in a relationship with you. They're in a relationship with their idea of you. They project their own needs, desires, and even their unfulfilled dreams onto you. You become a hero who provides a sense of stability in their own chaotic life, a symbol, not a person. This brings us to the other side of the paradox, the lifeline. Because they see you as the perfect, unshakable hero, they also see you as an inexhaustible resource. When a crisis hits, you're their first call. You're expected to be the calm in their storm, the voice of reason in their panic, the emotional rock they can lean on, no matter how heavy the burden. You become an essential utility, like a public service they need to function. This is where we need to talk about a critical concept called emotional labor. This is the invisible, often unacknowledged work of managing emotions, both yours and others, to keep things running smoothly. In a healthy relationship, emotional labor goes both ways, but in the fan-lifeline dynamic, it's completely one-sided. You're the one doing all the heavy lifting. This might look like constantly checking in on their feelings while yours are ignored. Always being the one to bring up tough conversations about the relationship. Soothing their outbursts while you have to swallow your own frustration or hurt. Anticipating their needs before they even say a word. Feeling like you have to perform calm and stable even when you're falling apart on the inside. That gap between what you feel and what you show is called emotional dissonance. And it's linked to burnout, anxiety, and depression. The crushing weight of all this is that you're wanted for the function you serve, not for the person you are. They're a fan of your strength, but they're a client of your emotional support. Over time, this one-way flow of energy leads to a deep exhaustion and resentment. You end up feeling more like a manager, a therapist, or a parent than an equal partner or friend. And you're left feeling utterly alone, even when you're supposedly wanted. So, why do people do this? Why turn someone they claim to care about into a 24/7 emotional support service? The reasons are complex, and usually have very little to do with you, and everything to do with what's going on inside their own head. I'll give you a few reasons. The first, a huge piece of the puzzle, comes from something called attachment theory. Someone with an anxious attachment often lives with a deep fear of abandonment and a nagging feeling that they aren't good enough. To quiet that internal anxiety, they seek out partners or friends who seem incredibly stable and self-sufficient, an emotional rock. Putting you on a pedestal is a protective strategy. The subconscious thinking goes something like this: if this perfect, strong, unbreakable person chooses me, then I must be worthy of love. Your perceived perfection becomes the cure for their insecurity. They become your fan because they're in awe of your stability. They use you as a lifeline because they desperately need the stability to manage their own emotional chaos. They aren't trying to understand your vulnerabilities because your vulnerability would threaten their source of security. A cracked rock can no longer be a reliable anchor, and for them, your perfection is a requirement. Another powerful force at play is the rescue fantasy, which is our reason number 2. People are just drawn to the idea of a savior. This often stems from a chaotic childhood or feelings of helplessness, where they dreamed of someone swooping in to save them. As adults, they project that fantasy onto you. They cast you as the hero in the movie of their life. You're the one who will fix their problems, heal their wounds, and make everything okay. This puts an impossible burden on you. You're not just a partner or friend, you're a walking, talking solution to all their pain. Their profound need can make you feel powerful and essential, but it also reduces you to a function. The rescuer. While they stay in the role of the one who always needs saving. And while they may not know it, this stops them from ever developing their own emotional strength and learning to stand on their own 2 feet. Reason number 3, using people as objects. Narcissistic traits. While not everyone who does this has a personality disorder, this pattern is also common with narcissistic traits. People with these traits often see others not as whole individuals, but as objects that exist to serve their needs. They're constantly on the lookout for sources of supply, who will give them endless admiration, validation, and support. You fit the bill perfectly. As their fan, you admire them just for being associated with someone so strong and special. As their lifeline, you provide endless emotional support without them having to give any back. In this dynamic, your needs are at best an inconvenience, and at worst, totally irrelevant. They don't try to understand you, because that would mean admitting you're a separate person with your own feelings, needs, and limits. And that would disrupt the comfortable one-way flow of support they enjoy. You're a tool, and they're the user. When you try to express your own needs, you might be met with confusion, annoyance, or even anger, because you're breaking the unspoken rule. Your job is to give, and theirs is to take. Psychologists have a concept called the conservation or resources theory, which basically says we get stressed when our valuable resources, like time, energy, and emotional capacity, are used up without being refilled. Being a constant lifeline is a massive drain on your resources. You give and give, but the reciprocity needed to refill your cup never comes, leading to burnout, resentment, and loneliness. So if you've ever felt like you're the emotional rock for everyone else, hit like and subscribe for me. It really helps the channel reach other people who are feeling the exact same way. So recognizing this pattern is the first giant step, but just knowing isn't enough to stop the exhaustion. Changing this dynamic requires some intentional and, sometimes uncomfortable action. This isn't about becoming selfish or uncaring. It's about turning a one-sided service into a two-way connection. So here are 4 steps to help you do that. Step 1, get honest about the imbalance. You have to see the pattern before you can change it. For a long time, you may have even felt proud of being the strong friend or the rock. It feels good to be needed, but you have to be honest with yourself about what it's costing you. Ask yourself, When I'm with this person, do I usually feel energized or drained afterward? Am I always the one who has to check in or start difficult conversations? Do I feel safe showing them my own struggles or messy emotions? Do I hide my own needs just to keep the peace or to avoid overwhelming them? Does our relationship feel like a partnership or more like I'm their unpaid therapist? Answering these honestly helps you see what's really going on. The problem isn't your strength, it's the lack of reciprocity. The goal isn't to stop being supportive, it's to stop being the only one. Step 2, set boundaries that are firm, kind, and clear. You hear me say it all the time. Boundaries aren't walls to push people away. They're filters to protect your energy. If you're used to being the rock, setting boundaries can feel terrifying. You might feel guilty or scared they'll leave, but remember, a respectful no is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for the relationship. This means you have to stop being available 24/7. It means creating space between their crisis and your response. You don't have to answer every call immediately. You don't have to solve every problem they bring to you. Here are a few things you can say. When they call in a panic, you can say, "It sounds like you're going through a lot. I can listen for about 10 minutes, but then I have to get back to my own stuff." This shows you care while also setting a limit. When they expect you to have all the answers, you can say, "That sounds incredibly tough. I don't have a solution, but I'm here to listen. What do you think your next step might be?" This hands the responsibility for problem solving back to them. When you're just too drained, you can say, "I can hear how much you're struggling, but I honestly don't have the emotional bandwidth to help with this right now." This is an honest and perfectly valid response. You're not an infinite resource. The people who respect your boundaries are the ones who truly value you. The ones who get angry are showing you they were more interested in what you could do for them than in your well-being. Step number 3, dismantle the pedestal by showing your flaws. The hero persona is built on an illusion of flawless strength. As long as you keep up that illusion, you'll be treated like a superhuman resource. The fastest way to tear down that pedestal is to show them your cracks. It's time to show them you're human. This means sharing your own struggles, your bad days, your fears, and your moments of doubt. If you've built your identity around being the strong one, this will feel completely wrong, like you're showing weakness. But it's actually the doorway to real intimacy. Start small. The next time they ask, "How are you?" just as a formality, don't say, "I'm fine." Try saying, "Actually, I've had a really hard day and I could use a distraction." Or, "To be honest, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed myself lately." When you share your vulnerability, one of two things will happen. A healthy, caring person will step up. They might be surprised at first, but they'll shift into the supportive role, finally giving you some of the reciprocity you've been missing. This is how you rebalance the relationship. But a person who's only invested in you as their rock will get uncomfortable. They might dismiss your feelings, change the subject back to them, or just disappear because you're no longer playing your part. That hurts, but it's also incredibly clarifying. It shows you the true nature of the connection. You can't build a real relationship with someone who can't handle your real, imperfect self. Step 4, shift from rescuer to supporter. As long as you play the rescuer, they'll continue to play the person who needs rescuing. To break this cycle, you have to consciously shift from doing for them to being with them. This means you stop providing all the answers and start helping them find their own. When they come to you with a problem, resist the urge to jump in with a 5-point action plan. Instead, become more like a coach. Ask empowering questions like, "That sounds really stressful. What have you tried so far?" Or, "What do you think you could do to feel a little more in control?" Or, "Who else is in your life that you could talk to about this?" By doing this, you're communicating two things. I believe in your ability to handle this, and I'm not your only source of support. This encourages them to build their own resilience and a stronger support network. It might feel like you're doing less, but you're actually doing something far more valuable. You're empowering them to be their own rock. Being the strong one, the hero, the rock, it often comes from a beautiful and generous place. But your strength should be a part of who you are, not a cage that traps you in a one-sided relationship. Real connection isn't about being admired from afar. It's about being understood up close. It's about being seen in your totality, your strength, your struggle, your wisdom, and your wounds. Stepping off the pedestal is an act of self-respect. It's choosing relationships where you're not just poured out, but poured back into. You deserve to be more than just a fan favorite or a lifeline. You deserve a partner, a friend, who is willing to walk with you, not just lean on you. Reclaim your energy, reclaim your whole self, and make space for the people who want to know all of you, not just the strong parts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, friends, keep healing. See ya.